keep surveillance on you are easy to control. And that is the idea. Mass resettlement as people are forced to vacate land where they currently live. All part of this moving people into these human settlement zones. They're clearing the land in various ways, and that's a major reason, in fact the key reason, why they are targeting small farmers, not least again in America, with regulations and financial problems that force them off the land, and other reasons too, which I talk about in the book. Dumbing down of education. Well, that's already achieved on a massive scale, because the last thing that any full-blown tyranny wants is a population of people who are informed and aware of anything. Mass global depopulation in pursuit of all the above, and I go into that in detail in the books. And of course, if you're going to take people off massive amounts of land and put them in these human settlement zones, then mass global depopulation is an essential, because you're not going to have the room for the people that are here now. Okay, now I mentioned a few minutes ago that the Agenda 21 is being superseded as they go to the next stage, and it's called the 2030 Agenda, getting even more specific now. And the headline of this report by a guy called Michael Schneider says, this month the UN launches a blueprint for a new world order with the help of the Pope. Of course, the Roman Church is all part of this, this web I'm talking about. Did you know, the article says, that the UN is planning to launch a new universal agenda for humanity in September 2015. The phrase does not come from me, he says. It is actually right in the first paragraph of the official document that every UN member nation will formally approve at a conference later this month. The entire planet is going to be committing to work towards 17 sustainable development goals and 169 specific sustainable development targets. And yet there has been almost a total media blackout about this here in the United States, while here in Britain and probably everywhere else as well. The UN document promises that this plan will transform our world for the better by 2030, and yet very few Americans have even heard of the 2030 agenda at this point. Most of them, including people in Britain and elsewhere, have not even heard about Agenda 21, even though there are Agenda 21 operations going on in communities, towns and cities all over the bloody world. It says that instead, most of us seem to be totally obsessed with the latest celebrity gossip or the latest nasty insults that our puppet politicians have been throwing around at one another. This is all the diversion. Get them looking that way so we can do what we want over here. It absolutely amazes me, the writer says, that more people cannot understand that Agenda 2030 is a really, really big deal. When will people start waking up? Well, they'll start waking up when they know that Agenda 2030 exists and they can start to see its significance, and that means communicating information. But you can only do that through the alternative media, because the mainstream media won't touch it, or if they do touch it, they will present it in a very positive way. The Agenda 2030 is taking the principles and goals laid out in Agenda 21 to an entirely new level. Agenda 21 was primarily focused on the environment, but the 2030 Agenda addresses virtually all areas of human activity. It's truly a blueprint for global governance. Of course, global governance, world government, dictatorship, dictating to every other person on the planet. And later this month, nearly every nation on the entire planet is going to be signing up for this new agenda. The general population is going to be told that this agenda is voluntary. Well, that's what they've said about many other things that have been compulsory. And that it is all about ending poverty and, here we go, fighting climate change. But that is not the full story. Absolutely right, it's not. Unfortunately, there is so much positive spin around this plan that most people will not be able to see through it. Just check out an excerpt from a piece that was published on the official UN website yesterday being this week. The United Nations General Assembly today approved a resolution sending the draft 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to member states for adoption later this month, bringing the international community to the cusp of decisions that can help realize the dream of a world peace and dignity for all, according to Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. I do say Ban Ki-moon. I think they ought to. Today is the start of a new era, the announcement says. We have travelled a long way together to reach this turning point, declared Mr. Ban. Yeah, we have not travelled a long way together. They have travelled a long way in pushing their agenda and keeping it from us so we can't be together and have an opinion on it, i.e. ban and all that. And what he was doing was, he says, recounting the path to the international community, elite, has taken over the 15 years since the adoption of the landmark Millennium Development Goals towards crafting a new set of post-2015 sustainability goals, global control, that will aim to ensure the long-term well-being of our planet and its people, brackets, inversion. With world leaders expected to adopt the text at a 25 to 27 September summit in New York, the UN chief said Agenda 2030 aims high, seeks to put people at the centre of development. Yeah, put the people there, we've got to control them, that's the centre of our development, right? Foster human well-being, well, prosperity, peace and justice on a healthy planet, and pursue respect for the human rights of all people and gender equality and all the other bollocks they talk about to hide the fact that it's all about control. Because what it is a mind control job. They give you loads of things that you go, yes, that's good, yes, that's good, that's that good, yes, that's good. And you get into this mode of yes, that's good for anything that they're announcing in these things. And then they throw the bullets in and the bombs in. Tell them what they want to hear and sell them their worst nightmare. I've made a note here. And that's what it's all about. Telling them what they want to hear, telling us what we want to hear, and then selling us our worst nightmare. Now, this is from the preamble of the official 2030 Agenda document. This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet and prosperity. That's not. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace in larger freedom. No, it doesn't. We recognise that eradicating poverty in all its forms, dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. All these are cover stories and cover explanations for control and imposition of lifestyle. All countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership will implement this plan. No, the hidden hand will implement this plan in the way it really means through this web that I was mentioning earlier. We are resolved to free the human race from the tyranny of poverty. Well, you're not. Well, we're very close to the point where 1% of the world population will own 50% of the wealth. It's all nonsense. And we want to heal and secure our planet. We are determined to take the bold and transformative steps which are urgently needed to shift the world into a sustainable and resilient path. Shift the world into centralized tyrannical control. We embark on this collective journey as we pledge that no one will be left behind. What absolute baloney. And these are 17 sustainable development goals and 169 targets as well.